There's one issue on which you won't give a clear answer. When you're asked, would you like to see us leave the single market, you can't tell us.
The single market is dependent on membership of the EU. What we've said all along is that we want a tariff-free trade access to the European market and a partnership with Europe in the future.
But to be absolutely crystal clear, we leave the single European market because we leave the EU.
The two things are inextricably
So we have to leave
linked.
the single market.
Yes.
Okay,
and
that's
so
clear.
the question is then the kind of trade relationship in the future, and we've made it very clear we want a tariff-free trade access with the European market.
Some of your colleagues have also made it clear that to get that, you'd have to accept some version of free movement of people once we've left the EU, a different free movement of people, but some kind of free movement of people.
I think we made that clear during the election, that quite clearly there are a lot of British people working in Europe, a lot of European people working in this country. We would do two things. One is guarantee the rights of EU nationals to remain here, including a right of family reunion, and we would expect the same to be done across Europe. And obviously, skills are needed on both sides of the channel. I mean, you look at any major company in Britain, they require European skills as they do British skills on their side. BMW, for example, and many others.
So we're outside the EU, but to get full access to the single market, we accept that there's free movement of people coming from the EU to us and vice versa.
Well, it would be a managed thing on the basis of the work required.
Right, but you wouldn't be stopping people at the border asking for their visas.
There would be European workers working in Britain and British workers working in Europe, as there are at the moment. What there wouldn't be is wholesale importation of underpaid workers from Central Europe in order to destroy conditions, particularly in the construction industry. So
how do you stop that? Under your plan, how do you stop that happening?
You prevent agencies recruiting whole-scale workforces like that. You advertise for jobs in the locality first.
But you don't, to be absolutely clear, you don't stop people coming from Latvia or Poland who want to come and work here. You don't stop them at the airport or the border and say,
they would come here on the basis of the jobs available and their skill sets to go with it. What we wouldn't allow is this practice by agencies who are quite disgraceful, the way they do it. Recruit a workforce, low paid, and bring them here in order to dismiss an existing workforce in the construction industry, then pay them low wages. It's appalling.
But
and the only people who benefit
just going back to my original question, would you allow everybody who wanted to come here, or would you stop them at the ports and airports?
As I said, and we said during the election, it would be on the basis of the economic needs and skills required. And so, for example,
you would say we don't need any more plumbers, you go home again.
The need for nurses, for example, is huge, and we now have a problem of nurse shortage because of the number of Polish nurses who've either gone home or not coming.
Absolutely.
And so we have to be sensible about this.
Right, but I'm still slightly unclear. If there was, for instance, some Polish plumbers, and we decided we have enough plumbers in this country, would they be stopped and told they had to go home again, or would they be allowed in anyway?
We will look at the situation on the basis of the job and skill needs.
Right. Can I ask about the customs union, because that's another big area. Is your current thinking that we could stay inside the customs union, or will we have to leave the customs union entirely?
I'm looking to do an agreement with the European Union on tariff-free trade access and, of course, on trade relations with the rest of the world. Now, what's interesting is the EU have said quite clearly, and I think quite rightly, that they would only do trade agreements, new trade agreements with countries that sign up to the Paris Climate Change Accord. The US has said, or President Trump has said, they wish to leave it. Therefore, that calls into question the whole of this government's strategy on a one-off trade deal with the United States, which sounds awfully like the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership.